Hey guys, so I'm going to do a review of one of my Dooley games that I had recently. It was really insane, and I played Ignition Core Dooley. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through it and talk about some of the decisions that we made, and I'm going to kind of go through step by step to help you guys understand. So here I had Shield Core, Weapon Core, and Ignition Core. To me, Ignition Core, the better of the three choices here, because Burn Dooley tends to be pretty strong right now. You know, really, if we had Companion Core, we probably would have gone Companion Core, because that tends to have most of Dooley's strong builds. But Ignition Core is pretty solid. So we're going to go with Ignition Core in this particular instance. It's going to set us up for a Burn build. One of the things that I don't love about Dooley is that, unlike the other characters, your first item choice tends to basically lock you in to... before we go into the next decision, I'm going to talk about this. Basically lock you into a build. You don't have to use the core, but you also just can't sell it. And so it has to sit in your stash. And the core can be pretty impactful for the build that you want to run. There is definitely some flexibility in terms of what you use the core for. But overall, like, to me, the core tends to be a little bit build defining for the most part. Like Companion Core, you know you're going to go down several routes. Burn Core, you know you're going to go down a burn build. Weapon Core, weapons, etc. Like, obviously, you can swap it out for the Combat Core if you find it, but yeah, I just want to point that out there with Dooley. It's not my biggest love. Okay, so with here, we have choices in the early game. Choices in the early game, in my opinion, is what makes or break your run, for the most part. You don't want to lose too much HP in the early game. You don't want to take too many losses. And generally, the early game is where you're going to get your build direction. So, they recently removed skills as an opening choice. When you take your item, you no longer get an offer of a skill. I quite like that, even though the skills were gold and they were very powerful. They often were very build defining as well. They kind of honed you in on a specific build. If you picked up the burn one for Vanessa or poison one, whatever, like, you end up in a situation where you're going to pigeonhole on going down like a burn or a poison build. Even the same with weapon damage to an extent. So skills in the early game, in my opinion, are a little less important than going for items. Items are going to be what give you your direction. So in the early game, what I'm always looking to do is go for items. In this case, we're going to go for Quixel. And we're going to look at what Quixel's offering us. There is the Ray build here. Now, obviously, with Ignition Core, or the Ray build is very strong. So I've originally got my first Ray here, and I'm looking at what else I could potentially buy. I will say the biggest noob trap, and I learned this from Crip's video, and I fully agree, the biggest noob trap in the early game is re-rolling. Re-rolling is expensive. It's 3 gold, so it would be half of my total gold for the first round that I've got currently remaining, and it may not give you anything that you want. So you really just have to make best do with what you've got on that first shop. And what I will say is that the first PvE round, so the first round where you fight the monsters, not that important, because you can beat some of them with absolutely 0 items. But as you go further and further into round 2 and round 3, you do need to have some kind of a functioning build to make sure that you beat those monsters. It is very important that you can at least beat one of the monsters, because they give you so much free experience, and experience is quite difficult to come by since they've nerfed a lot of the areas that you can get it from. So looking here, I'm just looking at whether thrusters are worth it. I'm going to do that for the time being, and then put them into the build. I can beat any one of these. I can probably beat the Kyber drone, but I can beat practically any of these 3. You can beat the wolf and the kimono with absolutely no items on the board whatsoever. I'm just going for the wolf because there is a chance that I can sell the pelt for slightly higher cost than getting one of the other items. But it's irrelevant really. Like both wolf, like Kyber drone probably could have been okay. It has an insect wing, which can give you some cooldown reduction. Probably would have been the better choice overall, but I just went for the wolf for the sake that I didn't really know if I was going to be strong enough to beat the Kyber drone. Probably would have been more than fine. Okay, here, so I've already got a couple of small items. I don't have a huge amount of gold. There are 2 options that I'm going to have. You almost never usually take the free item option. Every time that you go through one of these selections, there's going to be one that offers you like a free item, which is like, should you have 2 options that are going to require you to have some kind of money to get something out of them, there's always going to be an option that gets you something. So very rarely in the early rounds do we take those options. You're always going to get a bronze item. It's very rarely going to be what you want, and ultimately isn't going to be worth a huge amount of money. In this case, I've got medium items. Now, clearly, I'm looking for Rays with this build. Like, what I've kind of set on is I found the Poison Ray. I probably want to go down a Ray build. I definitely could look to pivot. There's definitely some medium items that could make sense, or like Micro Dave, for instance. But also, I've got option to one of the more powerful choices in the early game, especially, which is the Lost Crate. The Lost Crate can give you 1 experience and 2 gold. It's low risk for relatively high reward, compared to like going to a vendor where could be high risk and low reward in the early game. I think if you're still struggling to find actual damage items, you should always visit the vendor. You need to have some kind of combat plan in the first 1 or 2 rounds. But in this case, I think, just going for the Lost Crate, it gets me some experience. And it does mean that if I find one more experience option on the following hour, I will get to level 2, which will give me an experience, a health increase, and also give me, access to one of the rewards. So in this case, like, in my opinion, the best option is to go for the Lost Crate, because I could pick up another experience option next time round. I have already got some items on my board. But I didn't get an experience option. It was worth the risk, though. There weren't many medium items that I was particularly looking for right now. Here I've got 2 options. I've got monster loot or junk. In my opinion, in the current state of the game, this is December 8th, always go for monster loot. If you have the 8 gold, you always buy the top gold version, because you can just resell them for 8 gold. And often they're going to be useful. If they're not useful, you resell it and you just get the gold back. Junk vendor, not too bad, but there aren't many items, apart from maybe getting a poisonous extract or something that increases my burn from my core. Not many things that I would be looking for right now, and I don't really have many items that I can sort of jiggle it around and make sure that I'm getting value out of the junk guy. So I'm going to go for the monster loot. I think it's the best thing to do in this situation. And because I have 8 gold, I'm definitely going to take the premium set. And it's given me 2 of the best options here, especially for the build that I want to run, 2 complete cooldown reductions for your entire board. Now, what would you do in this situation? You could use them now, but it's probably not going to make the difference, right? No, we hold on to it until we have our full board. I'm going to collect these feathers. You're going to notice on this run, this is what made this run so insane. I'm going to collect these feathers until I have 90% of the board that I want, and then I'm spamming cooldown reduction. And suddenly I'm going to have gamma rays firing off, rays firing off all over the shop. So yeah, this is just the early rounds. I'm going up against probably a bit, I should end up winning this. I think I should end up just about getting there, but he does actually unfortunately have no, I think I lose this one. He has got some burn, and he's got a little bit of healing as well. Although I say that, maybe I'm talking my bum. No, I think I do end up winning. Yeah, no, I should be winning this. Even with, in my opinion, one of the best items in the game, which is Medicaid. I think yeah, I should win. Gamma Ray just gets a lot of poison after it stacks over and over again. So here we look at what we've got options. We've got upgrade the core, which is not that impactful for Ignition Core. It's okay. We have 2 extract for poison, which is very nice. Obviously, if I'm running like a poison build, not too impactful for poison ray, but yeah, it's not too bad. Two cinders, which is decent for the core, and then 3 loot items. I went for 3 loot items because, again, could get something really useful. I ended up getting an extract, which is decent. So that's one of the 2 extracts that I would have got anyway for going for extract. And I got yet more cooldown reduction, which is absolutely nutty. So we have items. We have the Lost Crate. Because we have space on our board, and I can't remember exactly what I did here, but here's my suggestion. We don't have a lot of gold. Jay could be anything. Jay could offer anything. He could offer rays. He could offer practically anything. In my opinion, I would probably just go and take the free XP and the free gold. And then I would aim to fight the easiest monster on the PvE round, because I don't think I can fight anything bigger, and that's what I do here. So yeah, I think it's the best option. We have bronze tier skills, haste item, and I'm going to take and then this is really interesting, right? Go back and look at that decision. So we have it here. Bloody hell, sorry guys. So we have junk, we have bronze skill, and we have haste item. Not many bronze skills that I'm super interested in just right now. Junk items, again, for the same reason as before, not super valuable. And I don't have a lot of gold. I'm just going to take the haste item because it could be good. It could be okay. Haste is generally pretty solid. So haste is like a good free option to take. And I end up getting a core part of our build, which is the frost ray, the beta ray. And that's fantastic. And that's now going to help ramp my poison even more as well. Now, here's a really important decision for you. You do not want to lose this round. You do not. You really don't want to lose any of these PvE monster rounds. If I could tell you anything about this game, is that you do not want to lose these rounds. So you take the safest possible option. There is obviously another consideration that some of these monsters will have loot that you may want that are good for your build. For instance, Covetous Thief, or the Thief guy, he's got a silver Covetous Dagger, which is great for economy, but he's also got a bronze version of the Shadowed Cloak, which is very good for certain Vanessa builds because the haste it provides is great. Borea is really, I really don't think many people can take on Borea at stage 2, unless you had like a really high roll early game. Borea is very hard. I very rarely am able to beat him, so I tend to stay away from him. And then there's Coconut Crab, who's very easy, super simple to beat, and is basically a guaranteed free to experience and a bit of gold. The only benefit you get for going for the middle one over the first one, so you've got a bronze, silver, and gold option. The only benefit you get for going for the silver one over the bronze one is maybe access to slightly better loot and 1 extra gold. So in my case, I'm not super weak, right? So beating Covetous Thief could definitely be on the option. Like, I definitely think there's a chance I beat Covetous Thief. Coconut Crab would be the easiest though, and that's what I'm going to do. I do not. It's so important. Cannot stress this enough, that you do not lose these monster rounds. These monster rounds are very, very, very important for accelerating your levels because experience is that much harder to come by now. Now, I think I could have very easily beaten Covetous Thief just by the way of how much poison I'm stacking up on the crab. But again, for experience sake, they are the same. They are both 2 experience, and then you get the experience for completing the hour. I end up picking up a shield item here, but yeah, not that relevant. Shield skills, non-weapon items. I've got 12 gold. I'm immediately going to jump into the non-weapon items here. And there's a couple of interesting things to look at. Bomb Squad and Welding Helmet. I like Welding Helmet. You can use it pretty quickly. And Bomb Squad is quite nice as well. Going to reroll here. I think I'm looking for rays. Don't find any rays. End up just moving on. But honestly, having Welding Helmet on a 3-second cooldown is pretty solid. So I'm going to sell these just to make up some space, and I'm not going to use my feathers just yet. Again, I'm looking to try and get the maximum that I possibly can go for. I'm going to get the free experience, even though I would have leveled up regardless here. There was no real medium items that I would have been looking for, so I went for the free experience in this case. Here's another interesting choice, right? You've got cinders. I can't remember what the 2 arrows was. You've got income, you've got some gold, and you've got a present. Personally, in this scenario, I don't know what I went for in this scenario, but personally, would have just gone for the income. It's safest. I think I went for the cinders. That's really interesting. So I'm going to give the cinders over to my core. And it's only bronze cinders, so it's not a huge amount of burn increase. Personally, if I was to redo that decision, I would have done income. Income is very powerful in the early game. Super powerful in the early game. Less relevant as you get later on, but if you can get income in the first couple of days, it's super powerful. So I probably, redoing that decision, might have gone for income. But you never know. That 2 burn might prove useful down the line. It tends to stack up. So this guy's got a pretty strong early build. He's got the armadillo, and he's also got the crane that scales. I don't really have, apart from poison, I don't have any scaling in this build right now. So I'm slow scaling with poison. However, what I would say is that his shield doesn't really help him versus my poison. So, you know, that's where poison comes in quite useful. And he's really not getting a huge amount of increased damage from the armadillo. So we end up making it through with our poison rate, which is great. 1 second, I think my kids are home, so 2 seconds. All right, I bumped up the speed a little bit because I realized that because I'm stopping and talking about decisions, this video might end up going on for about 1 billion years if I don't bump the speed up a little bit. So here we're going to go and we've used some of our cash. We've got a lot of cash. We need to kind of speed up what we're spending. We have Copperhead here. Copperhead will scale with our Ray. He's a little bit of a slow friend. I don't rate him too highly, but he will scale, so that's always a good thing. And I like getting Water Cooler. Water Cooler is great. If you have an adjacent friend, it will gain you a bit of HP. It's usually best to get it on day 1, not super relevant in day 2 or day 3, especially if on a bronze version, we're only getting 5 HP. But given I had nothing else to play, perfectly fine. In this case here as well, 3 options again. I'm always clicking Monster Ranch. Monster Ranch is always going to give me good items. And I go and have a look at what I got. I got Gland, which is decent for early game, and I got Shielding, which I might as well give over to my helmet, just because it's going to provide me a little bit extra shield. 12 extra shield is really nice. It boosts it by quite a significant margin. Now I feel pretty strong enough that I can take on Eccentric Aetheryte. However, there's also the option of getting some more burn from Tempest Flame Dancer, and you need to beat this round. So if you're ever in doubt, if you ever think, I'm not sure how strong I actually am, and one of the things that I think actually looking back on that decision is probably right. Aetheryte uses shield to scale their force field gun, the large gun that gains damage based on the shield that you've got. I don't actually have many ways of getting the shield down. I've only got the core burn, which is not going to help very much. So in this case, maybe I would have actually ended up losing there. So what I've done instead is I've gone against the easiest option, but also the one that potentially gives me something that I can use. So I can obviously use the Cinder, and I can obviously also use the gold to sell. Not too particularly keen on getting the Cutlass or the Sharpening Stone, but I mean, the Sharpening Stone I could save for the Alpha Ray, the whatever the ray is that deals damage, the Weapon Ray. So, either way, we dispatched this guy pretty quickly. Maybe I could have gone for the Aetherite, but it's not worth taking the risk. So we've got an Abandoned Chest, toughness and shield items. There's too many toughness and shield items to get something super good here. But, okay, so decision that I actually think was wrong in this scenario. Give me a second. Yeah, the decision that I actually thought was wrong in this scenario. So in this scenario, I genuinely felt that the probably the Lost Chest would have been better. The reason I didn't go for Lost Chest is I'm going to level up to 4 anyway. However, getting that extra experience is always really useful, and it will have a knock-on effect down the line. And actually, there aren't many shield items that I would be particularly looking for at this moment in time. However, I am about to level up, so I'm expanding my board. Looks like I skipped on all of them, which is really interesting. I think I actually just ended up putting the Cutlass in. There you go. So we've got loot items, friend, cinders. 3 loot items is pretty good in this scenario. We got a gland, we got another scrap, and then we've got a crit item, which can be good down the line. All right, so here's a good option. We had a friend option there, we had a free option, and then we got the Mountain Pass. Why do I like the Mountain Pass? Well, there are 4 options here, one of which is just, I think, gain 2 experience and 1 experience and 2 gold, a little bit like the Lost Crate. There is the invest and gain in your economy. A little bit, not that great. I think it's because you get access to this a little later into the run. Usually you don't really need the economy at that point. It's not as useful. You either picked up economy items, or you're strong enough to kind of gain enough gold that you need from the PvE rounds. What you do have access to, though, is a fight. You could get a fight. If you get a fight, it's amazing. You get a chance at more monster loot, chance at more monster skills, and more importantly, chance at more monster experience. Boiler Room Brawler. Boom. Watch how much experience I'm going to get for this, and how much gold I'm going to get, and the option for maybe getting an item that could be useful. Absolutely, in my opinion, one of the best things that you can click in the game. The best thing that you used to be able to click was the docks if you had Astrolabe or Star Chart, but that's been nerfed. This is still hilariously good if you get a monster fight. You get the original experience that you would have got for beating the monster. You get access to an item that you can sell, and you get the gold. You see, I got 3 experience for that. I got 3 experience for that, which was absolutely insane. And again, we are just going to keep holding on to those feathers for the time being, because the feathers are going to help us later down the line. You're going to see how much impact that's going to have. Now, this guy's also going for like a Monitor Lizard Ray build, which, yeah, he's gonna hit me real hard, and going to scale his poison up a little bit higher than I'd be able to as well. I was having a look about whether having switching some of the items around would make a difference with the ignition core, but frankly, what I've learned from this run is that it's almost never worth giving burn to things with ignition core. It's almost just better off just constantly charging it. Small and medium items, so we're going to go for there. There's nothing at the docks that is particularly useful for me. You get some gold and a potential weapon, but nothing too crazy here for the time being. I could sell off the Fiery Cutlass and bring in Wallace. That would probably be good. That would be help me generate a little bit more HP. I can't remember what I did. Sorry, there were some people outside my front door. Okay, so again, we go for monster loot right here. Let's take a look at what we got. We got yet more feathers, which is incredible. We are obviously quickly needing to sort of make use of our stash, because it's currently getting quite full. So I feel pretty confident to go for Hydra. I think this is actually a relatively risky click. Personally, this guy is actually deceptively strong, and he will gain once you start using your items, he will gain a lot of damage very quickly. So this actually, I personally think, was a potential mistake. You can see his Piranha is like an unbelievable amount of damage now. So it's like, this was very risky, and you can see I ended up losing out. That is, and just to say, that is really bad. What just happened here? Really bad. And look, I was 1 second, if that, away from beating him, so it was a close call. But this is really bad. I now don't get any experience for this round. I get the gold, don't get the loot. and I don't get any experience. I will say got a lot of gold from that, which is fine, but I miss out on 3 or 4 experience in that case, and I don't get the sort of the guaranteed 2 that I would have got from going for one of the easier fights. That's a really, really, really bad outcome. I actually like Zara for haste and charge skills, but I also don't mind going for Tox Clocks because there's also probably some good items there as well. There are items that I need to replace in my build, so again, prioritizing items up until day 5 is usually a good way to go because you need to get items that are going to make you at least functional in a PvP setting. I'm looking here. I've got duct tape. It's pretty serviceable as kind of like a defensive item. I'm actually going to use it now over using Wallace. Using my little man that gives me HP. Looking about here, we have more loot items. So I'm going to go for more loot items in this scenario. You have a look. I've got not great loot items, but I have got. Oh, I just gave it to the bloody. As you can see, I misclicked and gave it to the welding helmet, and I was really mad about that. Don't rush things, kids. I've got weapons, which I don't need. I'm just going to take the free guaranteed experience here, which is, again, knock-on effect down the line. That's always going to be useful. Looking at this guy, he's got day 3, and he's got 3 wins, and he's got no losses. So he's probably going to be pretty strong. Yeah, he's got a pretty functional Ray build, and he's also got a lot of shield generation. So basically, I've got to rely on my poison in this scenario, but he's already got like a massive hitting force field, which is going to hit me real hard, and I'm going to lose this pretty quickly. So scales up far quicker than I was able to. I just need my rays though. I'm looking for the burn ray, and I'm looking for the weapon ray. So silver tier items, I just click on him straight away, and there we go. We get our alpha ray. I personally would sell the cutlass. Definitely picking up the alpha ray, 100%. It's about whether I pick up this. I do pick up that too, and now we're just obviously looking for. Oh, we're going to sell that and buy nitro. Interesting. Spent quite a lot at Sterling. Sterling's pretty good. Tools, don't really need tools. So I'm just going to go straight for the Lost Crate again, which is going to give me access. We have Infernal Envoy, which could give me some burn. We've got Sabertooth, which is just good for some gold generation because the pelts are worth a decent amount. And then we've got Gorgon. Gorgon's only 1 more experience, and I don't massively need the poison stuff from her. So, I think like Infernal Envoy is probably the best option in this scenario. I'm just having a look at sort of what I can do. Yeah, but I think Infernal Envoy is the best option in this scenario, and it guarantees a win. We really do need the win. So I've already got quite a decent amount of damage stacking up on him here. He's not the easiest fight to beat, but he's also not the hardest. And I've got a lot of poison and burn on him now, so we are all good in that scenario. I was having a look at what that might do, but we end up getting just getting a cinder. Got cinder, 3 loot items. Personally, just think, did I go for more cinders here? Interesting. I go for more cinders because they're silver and it stacks my core up, which I think is decent. It's a decent play. Got friend items, which I don't massively need any friend items. Got some chocolate bars, so I'm just going to take the free chocolate bars in this scenario. I'm going to give the crit now over to my core, and then I'm going to get the. I have enough gold to go for the fancy chocolate bars. Interesting. Was not expecting that. Again, monster loot in this scenario. What did I end up getting? I got yet another feather. Look at how many feathers I've got. Absolutely insane the amount of feathers that I've got sitting in my inventory. Just need to. And I think what I do in this scenario is the best thing to do is to wait until I get the burn ray. And once I get the burn ray, that's it. I'm just going to spam all of those feathers because that's the core of my build kind of sorted at that point. Also looking for rocket launch. This guy hit me for 853, by the way. Oh, he's playing junk build. Oh, it was 1 second off from winning. 1 second off from winning. We have to make a big comeback here. Rocket launcher is great. That's what I'm looking for. Also looking for the burn ray as well. So we've got Isocoric Freezer. We've also got Micro Dave. We've got Wallace, who's decent. Oh, this is where it froze. Give me a second. Right, sorry, I just finished. Okay, and yeah, we bought Wallace and just looking for something else that might be worth it, but we don't get anything. So interesting, we've got some options here. We've got Aerodrome, which is usually really good if you've got loads of gold. I found with Aerodrome, really good if you've got loads of gold. I don't have loads right now. I'm talking loads is like 60 plus. I've currently got 23. So in this case, I'm probably just going to go and look for some small items. The health option is good. Now, you have to pay attention to that health option. It's not an auto pass. If you get that health option, a bad vendor, and then chocolate bars, for instance, the maximum you can get from chocolate bars for 10 gold is 150 HP. That, once you're a high enough level, snack time actually gets you more basic HP. So don't be fooled. It's actually quite good sometimes. Crypto, not bad. Invest for 4. But then there is rocket launcher. Here we go. This is really strong for the build. This is double damage. It burns for 6. I can start putting cinders on it, which is going to start increasing the amount of burn. And it's a triple cast, a multicast 3. So this is an incredible item for this build, and definitely worth including. No, don't roll. Take it. I definitely took it. I did take it. Okay, and then we have this freeze ray here as well. Just looking, cool LEDs is fantastic too. Definitely 100% worth it. I'm just looking for now the gamma ray. So we've got 2 extract poison. We've got 2 income. Going to take the 2 income because there's nothing actually that great. The other thing that I could go for here, and this, now again, this is another option that is important. Another option that I can take here is Giant Mosquito. Giant Mosquito actually isn't too bad because it can give you an insect wing. I believe it also gives you haste to weapon at the start of combat. And if I'm only running 1 or 2 weapons, that can be really good. But Enclave Weeper gives me the most experience and could potentially also give me an extract or a vial of blood, which is great for experience as well. So I feel pretty confident that I can beat it. So yeah, as you can see, Rocket Launcher is just fantastic for Ignition Core. Really doing a good job of just like essentially accelerating the burn that we're putting onto people. And you can see how much burn we're now putting on people with just that 1 item. Imagine if we now had the burn ray as well. That would be incredible. So there we go. We get that, which is rubbish, which we're just going to sell. Now we're into gold skill territory. So this is day 6. The first time that I've ever clicked on a skill vendor because we can now get access to some of the good skills. So you can see when you level up, upgrade a bronze tier item. Vehicle, we don't have any vehicles. So level up, upgrade a bronze tier item. That's pretty solid. We still have a lot of leveling up to do. Okay, and we can actually see here as well, we are at 8 gold. So 8 gold, and there's no way that I'm going to the dig site because I'm probably not going to find anything that I want. So I'm actually going to just... Okay, that's crazy. I'm going to the dig site with 16 gold. Sorry, I sold something for a decent amount of gold, so I actually have the gold. That's somewhat worth it. And we are so lucky. We go to the dig site. Thank God we did. We found the ray. So we're basically in build territory at this point. We are essentially at the prime place in our build. Everything here. You're gonna watch this, right? I don't know if you can see. I don't know if I'm able to show you the cooldowns. I think Rocket Launcher was on a 6-second cooldown, and now I'm going to sell all of the feathers. Right? I've gone from having a 6-second cooldown rocket launcher to a 4.5-second cooldown rocket launcher. That's 1.5 seconds of the cast time that has just been obliterated. The only thing that we now need for this build is haste. We don't have much haste. I'd love Medicaid. Medicaid would probably be a great little dude to just add into this because it can start like accelerating the build. But yeah, we're basically at prime build now. We've sold all of those feathers, immediately got 1.5 seconds off the cast time of most of my stuff, and that's just fantastic. So here you go. We are going to start applying a butt ton of burn. If we get haste in this build, we are going to accelerate this by a massive amount. But we basically just 2-shot this guy. This build is basically at prime territory right now. And yeah, we went for the dig site. That was lucky. I'm going to pause and say that was lucky. I actually think if I was doing it in any other situation, I probably would have not gone to the dig site with 8 gold. But then I realized I had a little bit more to work with. But still, going to the dig site with 16 gold, it's still a little precarious. Okay, so I had to get a drink as well. Cool, so we are like in a super strong spot now. So this is our build. So we have spent the first 6 days getting the majority of the items that we need to make our build good. From this point onwards, we are looking to upgrade items, improve their power through selling junk items or monster loot or whatever, and additionally find some good skills. That is basically where we go from this. Getting experience to level up, getting the level up rewards, improving the power of our current items, and then also getting skills that are relevant for us here. So I was looking for, maybe the only thing I was looking for here was a rocket launcher, but I didn't really have many other good options. And we can have a look at the level up rewards that we've got. So we've got loot items, burn, extract. So we're going to go for loot items here. So we got gland, and we got cinders, and we got cooldown reduction, which is amazing. This is just absolutely fantastic. And all of the cinders are going to go on to rocket launcher as well. So we're at that stage where we're now going to start looking at skills. So we're just looking for anything that's sort of like good from a skill perspective. Not great, but we can re-roll this guy. So, you know, re-rolling in this situation is probably pretty solid. What did I just take? I would have re-rolled. Personally would have re-rolled. Okay, so I had options here. Cosmic Rock is great because Cosmic Rock can give us more cooldown reduction. That's one of the best things about Cosmic Rock. The other thing is it has a skill that if you crit, you haste your items for 1 second, which is actually a really good way of providing haste to this build with the rocket launcher, because if I can get some crit onto the rocket launcher, then we can start hasting the majority of our items. And that's also fantastic. But we end up getting another bit of cooldown reduction, which is honestly quite incredible. More cooldown reduction I'm never going to say no to. So Docs isn't fantastic for us. It's only 2 gold and an item. So we're going to just have a look at what this guy's looking to sell. Maybe we find an upgrade. Duct tape is pretty nice. I can put it next to my cool LEDs and my rocket launcher. Or my core and my rocket launcher. Yeah, that's probably fine as well. That's quite a slow item, the freeze ray, so we're not that bothered about getting rid of it. Bazaar Con is fantastic just for the experience. In almost every scenario, what I do here is I take the free experience and it gets me up another level. Core's cooldown, cinders, go for the cinders, give them to the rocket launcher, I think is the best way to go about this. What was I doing? Take the cinders and put them on the rocket launcher. They're gold cinders at this point. That was so stupid. Why did I go for core cooldown reduction? Maybe I just missed that I was being offered cinders, but that was a hilarious decision. Hilariously bad decision. All right, never mind. We're still doing okay. We still got, look at the burn that we're applying. It's absolutely disgusting. Like, not even close to being funny. 362 burn in about 2 seconds. I'll forgive myself for not giving myself a bit of extra burn here. Items with a high chance of upgrade is pretty nice in this scenario because we do need to upgrade some of our items here. So we've got 53 gold. Go for items with a high chance of upgrade. Upgrading the freeze ray, pretty nice. The problem is, and this is the problem. Once you get to like this point in the game, if you've got bronze items left, the chances of upgrading those bronze items gets lower and lower because as bronze items are very prevalent at the start of the game, they become less and less prevalent as the days goes on, where more gold items and diamond items are being offered. So if you have some bronze items left on your board, you will never be offered a version that is higher than bronze again, because it'll only give you an option to upgrade directly. So you're only ever going to get a bronze version of an item that you've got on your board in the shops. As the days go on, it becomes harder and harder to find those. So sometimes if it's a non-build critical item, you can sell it and hope that you re-find a gold or a better version down the line. Unfortunately, with my build, the majority of them is quite item critical or like quite build critical, so I wouldn't want to sell it. Silver's a good place to be in. Like you can still find silver as the days go on, but once you get to day 10 plus, it starts to get harder and harder to find silver items too, so that's always a worry. Haste and charge skills, though, I desperately am in need of some haste shields. When you use a non-weapon, first time you freeze, haste your items for 3 seconds, which is pretty good when I got freeze ray. You also have, when you use a non-weapon, haste your weapons gain haste for 1 second. So you're going to get a lot of weapon haste. That's actually pretty good for rocket launcher. Mixed messages is quite nice for rocket launcher, but then to be honest with you, invigorating cold is also very nice for my entire build as well. But mixed messages is very strong in this scenario. All right, so we have Robo Bouncer. We have Infernal Ship, and I think one of the things I was doing right now, which is why I haven't clicked on it immediately, is I went to howbazaar.gg just to check if there was anything from Infernal Frigate that would be good. Because in this scenario, Cosmic Rock also still very good for me. So we go for Cosmic Rock just because there isn't that many great things from Infernal Frigate that I could really use. Obviously, they've got a rocket launcher as well, but I already have one. And we one-shot Cosmic Rock, and we pick up, I think, the skill. So when you crit, haste an item for 1 second. This is great because now if we actually end up getting some critical strike skills or something that improves my critical strike based on what I'm doing, then we can actually haste our entire set of items. Nope. Okay, so there's a reason. Goldie was on the table. There was no reason to go to Goldie because he'll only offer me gold items. He won't be able to offer me gold items for items that I've already got, so I won't be able to upgrade any of them. It's basically a useless vendor in this scenario. We get nothing, we get level up. Poison, cinders, burn, health. So actually, I actually don't mind this decision now because adding some cinders is not going to make a huge difference It has a knock-on effect because it puts your baseline floor higher, but actually the level up health reward that you get is pretty significant. Like, there's a decent amount of HP. So at this point, I'm actually also just saying I actually have a lot of damage. What I'm really now looking to do is make myself a little bit more resistant to burst, because one of the only kind of the builds that I tend to lose at this point, or lose to at this point, is against other burst builds, like Vanessa, for instance. So I just want to have the HP to be able to tank like the first few hits, and you can see I already have like way more HP than a lot of my opponents. And I'm kind of blitzing through the majority of these midday opponents with relative ease. So we've got burn skills. I can already see that. Burn skills. So this is actually a really tough decision. There are some really good junk items that could be good for this build, but also burn skills are just really important. Core has its cooldown reduced when you use less most item, burn 4. When you burn, your items gain 2 critical strike chance for this fight. My gosh, that is the perfect skill for this scenario. When I burn, I gain critical strike. When I crit, I gain haste. I have a burn, crit, haste engine right now. And now I'm just basically clicking on the most experience physically possible. I'm clicking on the monster that's going to give me the most experience and accelerate my my level up. I've actually managed to level up most of my items out of bronze by just the virtue of having that the skill that upgrades items when you level up. See here, that's kind of irrelevant. I just wanted it for the experience. Upgrade your leftmost item. Having a look at what the most important item here is to actually upgrade. I actually think it's probably the burn ray, because I don't think leveling up the rocket launcher actually does much for me. So leveling up the burn ray is pretty good. Leveling up the core could be okay, but I think leveling up the burn ray is probably the most impactful in this scenario. Leveling up cool LEDs would be okay. Leveling up the core would be okay. But yeah, I think leveling up the Omega Ray would be the best thing. And you just, yeah, fantastic, like probably the best thing to go for here. Sell slow items, just seeing if there's anything relevant here. Nothing that is that I would consider particularly good. So we're going to get rid of it. Move on. We have Lux for diamond tier items. I can't really afford many. So we're going to go for Bazaar Con again. Going to gain the 2 experience, which is just great. And we're going to go into our next fight. We are super strong. Like, unbelievably strong at this point. Like I said, at this point in the run, it is just about refining the build that you've got and just making it as good as it can be. This guy has got a, oh my gosh, that is, I think this guy really like hit me for about could have hit me for about 1 billion damage. That is one of the strongest one-item submarine builds that I've seen in a while. That is a lot of submarine damage right there. But nonetheless, blew him up. Aerodrome, so just looking for anything like remotely relevant here. We're going to go for shield skills. When you gain burn, shield 20. So just to be clear, that's when you gain burn, not when you burn. I think there are definitely scenarios where I've clicked that thinking it is when you burn. When you use a weapon, your shield items gain 9. That's actually pretty solid. We've got 2 weapons and we hit. So yeah, this, really stupid. I think I read that, and I do this all the time. Sometimes I read it as like when you burn, gain shield. No, it's when you gain burn. So it's when someone burns you. It's kind of like a way of like stopping a little bit of that burn damage. I went for the eating contest. I probably would have gone with the junk items, but nonetheless, getting the extra HP is never a terrible decision, but I have spent a lot of my gold here. Void Colossus, right. So this is important. We're getting to day 10 plus. This is where you start getting offered some of the really, really hard PvE encounters. You've got to realize that there are just some of them that even if you're really, really strong, you're probably not going to be able to beat. One of them is, for me, Void Golem. Can't beat Void Golem because I use too many of my items and then therefore the Caltrops will just one-shot me. This guy, Void Colossus, can build because I have a lot of small items, and as long as he doesn't take out like a mission critical one, we're not going to have a problem. We also have cool LEDs, which is going to slow him down a lot. Now, he ended up taking out my rocket launcher. Doesn't matter too much. I've already applied the burn. I make the mistake. I think it's this run that I make the mistake in. I go to Void Golem thinking that, it's Void Colossus. Don't get that. Don't make that mistake. 3 loot items, max HP. Max HP is really good in this scenario, so I'm just going to take the max HP. Small and medium items is the best option here. Just look for an upgrade for one of my rays. Like I said, you can still kind of find silver items on a semi-regular basis here. Can't find any. That's fine. Small items, again, just looking for a ray upgrade. Nothing major. Going to go into that fight. Can't use that. No point. Going to sell it. Still feel really strong right now. I just looked at this guy. He's got no prestige, so he will have an enchanted item. So I know that this guy's going to have an enchanted item on his board. Can't work out which one of his enchanted items actually is. He's got the Ray build, same as me, but he doesn't have the rocket launcher, so he's not going to have the way of like supercharging this. And you can see like I just was able to supercharge it super quickly. 665 burn. Rocket launcher is really OP in the Ray build if you can get it. And we're going to go into our next level. Upgrade the core, more HP. Just take the more HP, like 300 max health is really nice. Small items, looking for a Ray upgrade. First Aiden, I really like First Aiden. It's better than duct tape in my opinion. I don't really think duct tape's doing a lot for me, and getting a little bit of extra random haste at the start can actually be really, really impactful. So I really love First Aiden, so I'm gonna take him in this scenario. Again, no more Ray upgrades. Can't find any more Ray upgrades, which is fine. We don't really need them. I mean, they're kind of a bit surplus to requirements. Could go sparring partner for the gold, but I was just looking for potentially an upgrade to rocket launcher, which I don't find. Sparring partner in that scenario would have been the better choice. It can generate you a lot of gold depending on how strong your build is, and obviously my builds are very strong. So sparring partner would have been the better choice. We're going to go for this guy. He's very easy to beat with my build, so take him down. Again, just at this stage, like if you can, unless you're looking for a specific piece of loot, you are just looking to maximize your experience from your monster encounters. I put that duct tape back in. That's interesting. Gonna go for JJ or max, just max health actually. Yeah, that's probably a good decision. Friend items I don't really want, but I'm just gonna have a look if there's anything interesting there. There is a water cooler, which is a little bit late into the run to have a water cooler, so it is what it is. Cinders, probably. Oh, I'm gonna say the burn cooldown reduction. I actually think there's one of the things I can reflect on this run is that actually I've skipped over a few cinders where it would have been better to take the cinders, because the higher the floor you make your rocket launcher, the quicker you ramp to the very high heights. So yeah, I think like taking the cinders would have been the better option in a few of these level up rewards scenarios. Definitely should have taken the cinders in that scenario as well. Like 3% cooldown reduction means absolutely bugger all at this stage anyway. But nonetheless, we're still really strong, so it doesn't matter. And that is 736 burn within a few seconds. Crazy. That's what rocket launchers can do for you alongside Omega Ray. Small and medium items eating contest. I could just take the. I think like this is tough, right? I'm looking for an upgrade to one of my Ray items, but realistically, at this stage, it's always better to take the guaranteed. So the guaranteed 150 extra max HP is probably pretty good. Gold less relevant, but 150 extra max guaranteed XP is pretty good. Metronome. Man, I mean, so this is the mistake that I made. I went to Void Golem for some reason, thinking it was Void Colossus. Watch how quickly I'm going to get blown up. I do more damage to myself with Caltrops than I do to him. So yeah, there was just terrible decision. I thought it was Void Colossus for some reason, and I clicked on it thinking, easy win because I've just beaten that guy. Stupid decision. Looking for really the only thing I'm looking for here is a rocket upgrade. Don't find it. JJ going to go and look for some more rays. Don't find them. Not a problem if I don't find them. There's a core. I'm going to go into this fight. Again, like there is not many ways to massively power up my build without skills at this point. This guy's got a 10,000 damage weapon. So I am mega losing this one. It's actually, you can see, it's actually pretty close. Couple more seconds. I had 2,072 burn on him. Couple more seconds. If I'd bought the cinders, I might have won that one. But we always go for, when we get to this point, we always go to the enchantment location. And watch this. This is disgusting. I have made this build absolutely disgusting now. Not only am I going to benefit from the poison increase, the burn increase rather, I'm also going to benefit now from the poison increase. Let's go have a look at the shield items. Shield items have a 9% crit chance. When you use the core, gain 10 shield. 3 loot items, interesting. 2 experience. That's actually not bad. I'll take that. Any day of the week, I'll take that. I'm going to sell Aiden. Poor Aiden. Temporary boost at this point is probably good. I'll take the extra max HP. Not Void Golem. Not going to make that same choice. I'm just going to Property Baron. There isn't really sort of any rhyme or reason to what I'm choosing for the PvE round other than trying to maximize my experience. But I will get to level 16 here, which should get me another enchant, I believe. So I should get another enchant to choose from because I'm going to level up, and we do. With an enchant, cannot be slow or destroyed with a heal effect or with a haste effect. Definitely the haste effect is super nice, but I'm going to go for Ignition Core. Oh, I'm hasting already so much from my my skills anyway, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go for the heal on the Ignition Core. So I don't actually have any heal items, and I use the core quite a lot, so that's pretty cool. Let's have a look at what we've got here. Your burn items have +4 burn. I think +4 burn is decent, but it's not great. When you slow, you'll get weapon gain 3 damage. When you slow, you gain critical strike chance. I think when you slow, you gain critical strike chance is nice. It'll just ramp up the crit that I have for gaining haste. Going to go for the guaranteed HP in this scenario. We only have 2 days left, so just like making myself as tanky as possible and then increasing my HP as much as possible is always really good. So we're going to go to this fight. It's versus a ship Vanessa, which can always be a bit scary, but the ship doesn't have a huge amount of damage, so we're in an okay spot. And just watch the poison and the burn. 1,034 burn, 315 poison. Absolutely crazy. We're into day 14, the final day for me, because I'm either going to lose or I'm going to win. Hero merchant's irrelevant. Kind of irrelevant. I don't know why I clicked it. I would have just gone for the regeneration. Yeah, if I was gonna look back, I would have gone for the regeneration. I think the only thing I'm thinking about is whether I replace duct tape with anything, but yeah, nothing crazy. I would have gone for the regeneration. Shield skills every day of the week. See what I can get. Take that. Go for Lord of the Wastes for the maximum amount of experience here. I'm only going to hit level 17, so it wouldn't have mattered which one I took, but this will also give me the most like gold and the most experience. You might as well just take the best option. I think this guy's got a skill where when any item is used, you gain critical strike chance, which affects your opponent as well. But yeah. Burn items, sharpening stone, upgrade the core. Just going to upgrade the core. Why not? Go for haste items. Nothing crazy there, although there is a Wallace. Dare to risk some coin. Doesn't matter what I choose, because I'm not going to be able to get to the next level anyway. And we're going to go into our final fight. This guy is also... interestingly enough, he has not got as many wins and has also hit his barrier. Must have lost a little bit more early on. So I'm getting slowed to all heck and getting 202 burn. But suddenly we are starting to ramp up a little bit now. But this guy is stacking up a lot of burn on me. I was sweating just a little bit this fight. Like he had 510 burn on me, but suddenly on my third rocket launcher volley, we were in a relatively good spot. We've got 1,058 burn, but I was definitely sweating, thinking I had 901 burn on me, and this guy had was taking no damage, and suddenly he just took all the damage, and that got me to the end of the game. So we had a 10-win run with that rocket launcher right there, and you can see 83 burn, 56 poison, and 368 damage. It's kind of nutty how much we scaled that, but it was a really fun run. And definitely recommend giving it a go if you get a chance. If you like this and kind of like going into the decisions, then yeah, I'd love to hear if you want to see some more Bazaar content, because I really like the game. I'll see you soon.